All right, coming to the end of season 3 with episode 24. Talitha Cumi is the name I'm going with. All right. So I want to say, I think I just read in the trivia, not for this episode in particular, but on Smoking Man William Davies, I think is his real name. On there, I think that he said this is his favorite episode.
Oh.
I have to look that up again, because I thought that's the name it said when I looked it up today. But we're 10 episodes behind now. We've watched 10 episodes.
It's pretty bad.
Beyond this.
Yeah.
So, we watched this one like 2 weeks ago. This is getting ridiculous at this point. We have got to try to stay focused. Anyway, okay. So, maybe I should know what this episode's about before I start talking about it.
That would be helpful.
No, I know what this is about. So, the opening of this is this, shooting inside of a, was it like a fast food joint or something? And then a dude comes and, puts his hands on people's bodies and, saves them, brings them back from the dead. And, I mean, that'd be pretty wild to see. That would be, that'd be hard. I don't know. Of course, my skeptic brain
You think it was
would
all
be it's staged.
set up, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it would depend. It would depend on how it was presented to me. So if, at the end of it, they were passing out flyers to, join their church.
Then you'd be like...
it would then be like, what,
no
bro?
way, bro.
What? So, I don't know. I'd have to witness something pretty miraculous to flip me. But, this would definitely be pretty wild. The guy who starts shooting, he's like, I'm not a loser. This, of course, this always has to do with, people always want to bully people or ignore them or think they're trash or, beneath their freaking feet.
Yeah.
But then as soon as they freak out about it, they're like, what a psycho.
Yeah,
What an absolute freaking lunatic. It's like, you can't treat people like shit forever.
No.
And then freak out on them. I hate, oh my God.
And expect nothing to happen, when you bully somebody.
One of my least favorite things I ever see in films. And it's just so angering to me every time. And it's because it's so real, because it is like this. But, when a bully is finally kind of, gets his comeuppance, the kid who's been picked on in school 100 times, right? And then the kid goes through some kind of a transformation in the movie. Something happens where they finally fight back. And a lot of examples could be given here, whether it's in the first Spider-Man when he gets his powers and he flips around on Flash, or in Stranger Things when Eleven walks up and hits the girl in the face with the roller skate. It's always nobody seems to say anything when the bully's bullying. But when the bully finally gets hit back,
people speak
especially
up
if it's because it always builds up. And so their reaction is always going to be so much more intense when they finally lash out in the other way, especially if they have a superpower or something that's been granted to them or gifted to them. But even when it isn't, it's oh my God, what a freak! How could you freak?
Yeah.
It's oh, how dare you!
It's supposed to teach morality, though. It's supposed to be you shouldn't stoop to their level, basically.
Bullshit.
But this guy in this episode, we don't really know why.
We don't know anything
what's
about
happening. He's just saying that he's a loser. So he's just kind of a disturbed individual.
Maybe he is. Maybe he is a total loser. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. It seems like he's shooting up random people, so that's pretty loser activity.
It's a loser thing to do. Yeah, you don't take it out on random people. That is super lame.
So yeah.
Yeah.
It's a good start to the episode, though. Just the X-Files-ness of it, seeing a man be healed.
Yeah. This one's written by Chris Carter and David Duchovny together. I don't know if this is the first episode Duchovny
I don't
helped
think so.
write.
I feel like there was another, one. I think. There might have been a couple others, but I feel like there was at least one more.
Yeah. We get to see an interaction here with Mrs. Mulder and the smoking man. The cigarette smoking man is how he's listed in the credits, but they call him Cancer Man, they call him Smoking Man, they have a bunch of different names for him in this, but we'll go with the cigarette smoking man this episode. And in this, she ends up having a stroke.
Yeah.
Which, of course, it's not good. You don't want to have a stroke.
No, it's not. Yeah, I like that we get this interaction because I'm trying to remember if we got anything from like a flashback episode.
On their relationship?
Yeah, the fact that they have some relationship going on. I can't really remember, but... I mean,
we know that they have had interactions just because her husband and him work together.
We know that.
Yeah.
So I think this might be the first time that we see that there's like potentially something else happening. Just like the way that he's acting and treating her this episode, especially at the end, like...
You think this is one of those, like, Snape situations?
So, kind of. I feel like I remember, I'm like, I don't want the girls to hear because it's a big spoiler, but what I remember is that the smoking man is Mulder's, like, real dad.
Oh, I don't remember this.
Oh. Well... I
don't
know, I might have spoiled that for you, then I'm sorry. But that was something that I remembered, or at least, like, at one point they think he is, maybe?
Okay.
I don't know if it's, I don't remember.
I don't remember.
But that was, like, a thing that I have had in the back of my head about, like, this show, and so this scene and this episode in particular, when we see how he's treating her, even if that's not the case, they definitely have some kind of, like, thing going on, or had a thing going on. I feel like this episode shows, yes, or at least, even if it wasn't like a full-blown affair, like you can tell that he has feelings for her.
Yes,
obviously.
he cares
like,
about her
for sure.
No doubt about that. I think this is probably at least a Snape situation.
Yeah.
Where, if for those of you who aren't Harry Potter fans, Snape, spoilers, is in love with Lily Potter.
Yeah.
And has always, like, you know, what is the saying? Like, had a
unrequited love.
Okay, I mean that's the actual term.
He always
had a flame.
Carried
a flame. That's it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And of course it never happened, but he's like protecting her son.
Yeah, I mean in a similar vein, right?
Son.
Like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so it's possible that he's like protecting Mulder because he's in love with his mother.
Yeah.
But it's also possible that, like you said, they had an affair and Mulder is actually Smoking Man's father.
Mulder is Smoking Man's father.
Or whatever the hell they said.
I like that version.
Mulder
That's funny.
is...
Yeah, we're trying to be quiet because the girls are here. We don't want them to, like...
We're just guessing anyway.
But we are just guessing.
Right.
Anyway, yeah.
So, Mama Mulder wakes up. She writes palm on a piece of paper. It would have been funnier if she wrote it on
her palm?
Mulder's palm.
You'd
be like, yes, like, Mom, that is my palm.
Arm. Fingers.
But he figures out that this is an anagram and that he needs to reorganize the letters to spell lamp. Since she had a stroke, her brain ain't working all that well. And so he finds the stiletto weapon that kills the aliens.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
And of course this brings back to us, I don't know if it's in this episode. I don't think so. I think it's in it. Oh yeah, it is. We do see him at the very end of the episode. Brian Thompson, the scariest man.
Scary man. The scariest man alive.
He's definitely got a unique face.
Scary.
He plays scary well, and I'm sure he's like the nicest guy on earth. The smoking man states here that people just can't be free. That they have to be controlled because it would be chaos if they weren't.
Yeah.
You know,
He has such a
I don't
nihilistic
know
view.
how inaccurate that statement actually is. I want to believe, like, I want to be someone who believes, like, better things about humans, but I just don't see evidence for it. I don't know if we are capable as, like, a people. Although, I don't know. I mean, there's so many, like, people who take advantage of people in groups.
Yes.
Right? Like, there's so much propaganda, and there's so many people behind the scenes who we relinquish power to that manipulate the hell out of us. And we've never as a people been given a good foundation to work from.
Yeah.
That actually, like, lets us see how humans would act. It's always like the few corrupting the many. Yeah. And we, unfortunately, are just really, we're like pack animals in that way. We're like, we're not independent thinkers. Some of us are. And unfortunately, a lot of the independent thinkers use that for bad and go out and manipulate people. And this is that Thanos thing, right? Where they think they're the heroes. I'm sure the Smoking Man thinks he's the hero. We get an episode in season 4 where he thinks he's some patriot, that he's doing this all for a better cause, that humans, if left to their own devices, would destroy themselves, and him keeping the secrets from them keeps them safe, right? This is how he sells it to himself. And it's like, I don't think that's particularly true, but I don't know if you were to tell people the God honest truth about things, if they were to know the absolute truth of everything, I don't think many people could handle it.
I don't think that the Smoking Man thinks that he's being patriotic. I think he has more of the mindset of, like, if it's not me doing it, somebody else will do it. Like, the role is there no matter what, kind of a thing. And
it's not how I took that episode we watched recently.
And he sort of gets just cast in it, really. So it's like his burden to bear. But at least in this episode, I could maybe see I don't know. I think he's very nihilistic. I don't agree with him. I think humans are capable of a lot more, and I think that our systems are messed up and don't, like, really let us thrive in the way that we, could. So
there's just bad eggs, right?
Yeah.
And if we were to, and you can't do this, obviously, so this is just like, total fantasy fairy tale thinking, and then of course it depends on your viewpoint of the world, but, like, if you could just eliminate those bad eggs, right, you could have a better society. But that's what everyone thinks, and that's how we get to the places we are. It's just like, oh, I'm gonna rule with the iron fist, and I'm gonna tell everyone what to do, and there's that God complex, and then you just start, eradicating the Jews or whatever, right? And you think, like, oh, this will fix all the problems.
Yeah, I think that the bad eggs are a result of society.
Yeah.
I mean, ultimately, I think that's what it comes down to. So I think if you had different, like, structures in place and
leadership,
a different, like, mode of operating, I think that those cases would be much, much smaller in general.
Yeah, if we could just stop electing, freaking corrupt goons. But I don't know, man. It just seems like throughout human history, we just can't help ourselves. We cannot help but let people who are obviously corrupt get into such a position of power that we're powerless to do anything against them. At least we are led to believe so, right? The whole governments should fear their people kind of thing, where it's like, yes, they should, but they don't, because they keep us divided on purpose so that we never revolt. That's their brilliance, is that they never let us form an alliance. They keep us fighting over social issues endlessly so that we never unify. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know how I feel about any of that. I think that what the cigarette smoking man is doing is good? Absolutely not.
No,
of course not.
He's I had a train of thought that I was like trying to hold on to while you were
Oh,
talking,
no.
and it went
I
away.
hate that. No,
It was
it's the
about the
worst.
smoking man. I don't know. I don't know where it went.
It's all right.
Sorry. It was
Happens
something
to both
about
of us.
him, though.
Too often. I can tell you this. I found it very fascinating that he's told that he has cancer.
Oh, yes.
Or that he's gonna die of cancer or whatever. He is like, doesn't believe it. It's like, bro,
so crazy.
you chain smoke 24/7.
I think it's a mixture of like, maybe he doesn't want to believe it, but also he's like, he doesn't trust anybody. Like, so I think he's also
that's
partly
like the most
thinking
obvious thing
it
ever.
is, but I think he's also like, you're just trying to scare me into like, believing what you're telling me is true.
It's crazy to
So-
me that he would be afraid of dying of cancer when he smokes that much.
Yeah, I mean we can't jump ahead too much, but the episode that we get later
I
on in
know.
season 4, I
Yeah.
really like as like a look into his
Yeah.
psyche and everything.
Yeah.
So we'll get to there at some sooner.
I was
rather
gonna
than
say
later,
that
but-
episode definitely helps me with that because there is something
Yes.
that's like revealed in there that I'm like, okay, I could see why he thinks this way about his potential cancer. But it just was funny to me. Like, really,
Yeah,
bro?
Yeah.
Like, what do you think was gonna happen? You can't smoke that much
No.
and not expect to like.
Although there are definitely
There's
people out
people.
there that smoke that much their entire lives
Yeah.
and never get cancer,
There-
and that's always bonkers to me.
But if you were to tell them they had cancer,
They probably
They
wouldn't be
wouldn't-
surprised and be like, oh,
how could you be
yeah.
like, oh my god,
Yeah.
how?
Yeah.
That's what? Yes, is it possible to not get cancer after smoking for 50 straight years? Milton Berle style?
Well, and then there's also people that
Yes.
never smoke that do get lung cancer. And
yeah,
you're just like,
Julie, girl I worked with, got lung
Crazy.
cancer, never smoked,
yeah,
and died from it.
the world is
Terrible.
a wild place.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah.
But your odds go up drastically.
They do.
So don't take that
They
as
do.
some,
No, we're
proof
not
that,
advocating.
maybe I won't get cancer. No, you will. This ends with them saying that, Mulder's talking about something and he's like, the ultimate game plan is like colonization and the date has been set. When do you think that date is?
Do
New
they say?
Year's 1999. Gonna party
Yeah.
like it's not. No. Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know.
They don't say the
they don't
date.
say?
No.
Yeah.
And then this ends on a cliffhanger of the alien riding up on Mulder and Scully to kill this. It's like Jeremiah Smith
Yeah.
is his name, and there's like multiples of him because there's like somebody's taking his appearance and going around as him, and he's gonna help them with something. But we gotta save that for the next episode because it is next season. I usually do these in one, but because it's next season, we're gonna have to cut it off here and head on over there. So we'll see you there.